Welcome to Gathering the Roll. So it's all the tabletop news you need for the week. Everything from RPGs, CCGs, card games, board games, party games, and local Kickstarters you might want to check out. Why don't we dive into our segments for today, because we have a bunch of news to handle on this holiday/Christmas week, which I'm hoping everyone is having a great day with. Why don't we start, of course, with our card game binder, our CCG Binder. With our first news, which is right here, we have a new Cardfight Vanguard deck. Well, actually, a booster, Volume 13 for Booster Packs G, the Ultimate Stride, is out now. So, this one has featured clans of Aquaforce, Angel Feather, Gold Paladin, Kagero, Tachikaze, Murakumo, Spike Brothers, Cray Elemental, 110 cards, 6 reissue cards included in that. The special reissues are 5. 2 cards in pack will be above rare or above. Packs contain 7 cards. Display boxes contain 16 cards. It came out this last Friday, so it's the latest in the line of booster packs out for the Vanguard G series. Mimicking the, of course, anime series to a degree, the TV animation, but it is the Volume 13. So if you use any of those clans, or you just, want to make a deck based upon them, maybe these might be some cards for you to grab and work on your latest Cardfight Vanguard decks. Just a little bit of enhancing your Cardfight Vanguard games, as usual. Alright, let's move on, though, because that is all we had in our CCG Binder this week. We do have some in our RPG bookshelf. Now, forgive these images, though Paizo claims that these products are out. These are the only images they have for both of these products. So it's 2 Pathfinder Society scenarios where they're not showing us the actual image of these. Thanks, Paizo, for not having a proper update. Anyway, so the first one here is Signs in Sengor for levels 1 to 5. The port of Sengor, it's kind of taboo to speak of an accursed ruin that's on the other side of the bay, or let alone even go over there. But there's a rumor that has reached the Pathfinder Society that there's someone searching through these ruins that they don't want there. And there's not many people willing to travel there, so a small group of Pathfinder agents has to get to the bottom of the plot that's revolving around these ruins, go over, find out what's going on, while still, keeping in good with the city, so to say. Also out for levels 5 to 9 is the Jarl's Blood Witch saga. It's a direct continuation of the ongoing storyline of the Sovereign Court faction. And it's one of the several scenarios that are set to tie in directly with the upcoming War of the Crown adventure path, which is the next adventure path coming out. Anyway, the lands of the Linorm Kings derive its name from its leaders, each who can rule after slaying one of the massive draconic lindworms that inhabit the region. Century goes a warrior set out to slay the dragon of her own and carve out a kingdom, did not return with the Linorm's head, but that of the local Linorm king. The lone witness insists that she used ice magic and witchcraft to kill the king, and it led to the warrior's execution. Pretty simple like that. Not a really great twist. The Jarl's Blood Witch prowls the land, they say, and splashes up travelers. So, there's some legends behind it. But notably, the warrior's descendants do exist. And one of them has contacted to make a deal with the Pathfinder Society. Exonerate his ancestor, in exchange for intelligence that could save Talador's future and avert disaster. So it's up to you to head to the land of the Linorm Kings, solve an ancient murder mystery of, a Linorm King. And, there might be a little bit more at stake than just honor when it comes to figuring out what's going on here. So, the Jarl's Blood Witch saga is out now. From Onyx Path is Changing Ways for W20 for Werewolf 20th Anniversary. It's an in-depth look at what it means to be a werewolf on personal or part of a pack. It kind of digs into what it means for your body to sort of reshape itself as it's been injured, gifts and rights bestowed upon spirits, what it kind of means to understand and gain these. It looks like life for Lupus and Metis werewolves, as these are experiences alien to anything that a Homid werewolf would have, basically a human-born werewolf. And understanding those a little better might be good if you were going to play one of those characters, looking at those perspectives. It also talks about the ways that packs are organized, and like kind of groups of warriors rather than just behavior in general. So organizations of packs, new tactics and systems for it, and just a lot about, you know, playing a werewolf and kind of getting a little bit more of those feelings. So if you play Werewolf the Apocalypse, especially the 20th anniversary, this might be a book for you to check out and dive a little deeper into what it means to be a werewolf. But let's move right along, though, because we do have some more RPG news out. I Love the Corpse. So, it is a sci-fi RPG with some military action, sci-fi, a little bit of horror. You know, aliens are rampaging, kind of things like this. It was a successful Kickstarter, and now it's available to everyone. Yay! There's a free-to-download quick start version if you want to check it out. It's set in Earth on 2450, and, well, the Earth system. Earth technically died 250 years ago, and its place stands on the Colonial Dominion. Defending it is the United Colonial Marine Corps. And most Marines are trained to fight rebel scum, but there are more of the horrors out there. So it's a little bit of military, a little action, a little sci-fi, a little bit of horror. It only uses a single D6 for cinematic story and scene building, and it's sort of kind of grabbing you. It's designed to feel like it's TV episodes or movies that you're going through, each on their own. So the quick start rules are, of course, available now, along with a number of the other books if you want to get them and purchase them. There's the training manual, the classified materials, the mission dossier. You get the character sheets for free. You know, so there's quite a little bit here to this game that you might want to check out. Now, I Love the Corpse is, of course, available on Drive-Thru RPG, and I am unsure if it's available in a physical form. And soft cover books, too. There you go. So, all right, we still have some more on our bookshelf here. Super Game, 3rd edition. So, superheroes are big, and there are a good number of superhero RPGs, and this is actually one of the original superhero RPGs that came out back in the day, and this is a new addition to it that you can get now. So we're bringing back a more classic superhero RPG and bringing it back to the forefront. It's one of the earliest ones that was out there. It's got the newest version of it's designed to be quick, exciting, and not strain your budget. You create a hero in minutes with a wide range of powers that can be measured by some kind of benchmarks. It's available in PDF format, but you can also pre-order a softcover, which will be coming out soon. And you can get the PDF as part of it. The classic versions of the game are available, actually. So the 2nd and 1st editions are combined in a set of PDF/soft covers together so that their 2 supplements are in one volume. So if you want to reference some of the stuff that were in the past volumes, you can take a look at that and also purchase those if you are a fan of Super Game. But the 3rd edition, again, is available in PDF form, and soon it will be out in... I'm sorry. In a soft cover book. And it does allow for using up to the basically 3 different dice systems: the Fugue dice, D6, D6, or 2D20. So, plenty of different options for what to do with this book, which is well, out in PDF form now. I'll move on, though, because we finished up our RPG bookshelf, to our card game desk, because there are some card games that have come out this week we want to talk about. Dirk Gently, Holistic Detective Agency, Everything is Connected. Whew, mouthful. So IDW is trying to give Cryptozoa, this is one of the longest game titles you could actually go, and it's a social storytelling game that takes place in the role of detectives. You play your keys to the jury of peers and try to solve a case. And it's based around, of course, the Dirk Gently TV series. Pretty easy that way. So mysteries don't solve themselves. Sometimes they might seem like they do. A good detective can make a mystery unravel itself in the most particular ways. Coincidence or clues, perhaps both. And in this one, you compete with the police to solve the most vexing mystery ever using ever-changing set of rules, suspects, person of interest cards. It's a social storytelling game where two players appeal to the panel of peers in an effort to make the strongest case of who done it and how. Pretty simple, pretty interesting. It's got 156 clue cards, 85 person of interest cards, and 59 mystery cards, all to put together for a interesting set of things to do for game mods. It's for 3 to 8 players, available in stores now, just in time for the end of the second season of the show, I believe. I'm not 100% accurate on that one. But if you're a fan of the show, or if you like a good, like, both mystery game and a game that has a little bit of social engineering, maybe this is one for you to check out. Alright, let's talk about Kiddy Quest, because I talked about Kiddy Quest before on this show. And guess what? It was successfully kickstarted, and now it's a general release. So I'm pretty sure I talked about Kiddy Quest. This one sounds so familiar. And it is a game that's very simple. Yeah. Or one of us talked about Kiddy Quest. You create a unique path, you add a venture with events, and go on a quest to find home. Pretty simple concept for a little game. That's really all you do in this one. So Kiddy Quest, again, it was a Kickstarter game. It is available now. It was successfully kickstarted, so grand, excellent. I guess that's all I have to say about it. It's a funny, unique little game. We talked about it on a previous discussing tabletop and / gathering the role. It's got elements of classic board games without a board. And you're using a bit of an imagination in the path you're creating and the game scenarios, making a unique play experience every time for everyone. As you build up this path, these things that you have to face in order to go from start to home. The Kiddy Quest is available now to the general public. Alright, we do have some news from Fantasy Flight, of course. So Game of Thrones, the card game, we have a new chapter pack, Journey to Old Town. And there's a lot of intrigue between the great houses of Westeros. And there's a new player entering the game, of course. What am I stepping on? The Greyjoys and the Martells are making their first venture into this Game of Thrones. And Seven Kingdoms are as deadly as ever, even though the fires of war have been breaking down. And that's where this sort of is the second chapter pack in the Flight of Crows cycle, and it's available now. It focuses on the event of the fourth book, Song of Ice and Fire. Along with a thematic focus, the expansion introduces new incentives for forging alliances between factions, new cards featuring the Bestow keyword, and some new agendas. So there's a lot of new things to add in with this thing, with this card expansion, and it is available now either online or at your local retailer if you play the Game of Thrones card game. Also out, though, is an Arkham Horror, the card game, A Phantom of Truth. It's all about Paris holding the key. That's basically the thing. The answers lead you across the sea to here, where the curse to play the King of Yellow was performed months ago, yet the strange happenings that happen around this performance still persist in Paris. And going to this new explored visa, you're leaving Massachusetts behind for here. So it's the second path in the Path of Carcassonne cycle of Arkham Horror card game, and it's on sale now. Again, it's more about the King in Yellow, the results of it, going to Paris and some of the explorations there. You start the Gare d'Orsay, the famous Gare d'Orsay is where you start your excursions, travel by rail to various parts of the city, in search of the play's director, Nigel Engraham, and kind of begin to unravel the mysteries of what's going on here. You will encounter terrible omens like twin suns, various other things around Paris. As you explore the city, try to learn the truths of what's going on here, and the next step in this cycle of cards. Yep. Alright. It's Arkham Horror, the card game, and it's more Arkham Horror. there's not much you could say about that. So let's move on to our board game pile, because we have Pandemic, Rising Tide. So the Netherlands have unique situations where most of the country is beneath sea level. You know, it has been helpful that the country can open the dams when it's under attack and flood regions. But this is sort of like what happens when that starts filling and there's no approaching army to defend. The country engineerings have to fix everything so it's high and dry. Now you can get the rule book for this game now, and it's a battle of the sea itself. The threat of flooding from the North Sea, overflowing rivers from constant looming over the Netherlands, and you have to construct a modern hydraulic system that will keep the waters at bay. To succeed, you will need to control the flow of water, keep it from spilling too far across the countryside, but the storms and sea might interfere with this one, so you're gathering a team, you're battling against the water levels. Now, on Rising Tide, where you have to rise to the challenge, a little joke there, in order to keep the sea level from flooding too much. So there's a different direction for the Pandemic experience. We still have like a lot of the cube systems with like water cubes, but you have them pumping stations to keep things going. So it's taking a lot of the concepts that come with Pandemic and putting it to fighting water levels. Kind of interesting, different take on it. It's for 2 to 5 players, 45 to 60 minutes, $50. If you want to try it out, if you want to get it now, it is available. And you do get 4 actions: operate pumps, draw 2 cards, and then you have to worry about the waters, flows, and all that kind of stuff, and storms, and various things that are a lot of the problems. So it does have a lot of that classic Pandemic in a definitely new skin. Let's move on, though. Got more board games from our pile. Ray Guns and Rocket Ships is now available. So, this was a Kickstarter. The Kickstarter backers have their copy, and now the game is available for everyone. So, you know, get ready if you want to get this one. It's hit retail shelves. It's a game that... God, getting like a good information about this one. So you're a planeteer fighting the fate of the galaxy. Which title of choice? The Astro Rangers, the Star Pirates, the Zarg, the Blarg. You use command cards to maneuver your rocket ship and roll dice to fire your ray guns, strap on your jetpack, take you into battle into space when you board your enemy's rocket ship, and what side will win, and that's up for you to decide. It's basically a lot of classic things like Flash Gordon, the original Flash Gordon. I'm talking like 50s and 50s sci-fi brought together in a tabletop format for you to play out. Again, it's available now. There's some information about it. I linked the page on it, which there isn't a lot of information on the page about it, unfortunately. But basically, like a lot of those classic comics, a lot of those classic TV series, a lot of things that are spoofing those things a lot of times are there. And gameplay consists of 3 turns of round, 3 phases per turn. The phases of movements are rocket ship movement, ray gun shooting, and crew and movement and actions. Rocket ship movement is programmed using command cards. 3 cards at a time can be revealed, 1 at a time. When a card is revealed, the players must execute an account on the card. Additional rocket ship movements and rotation may be made by placing crew members on the engine or the cockpit. Yes, there are star cards that give you victory points. The object is to, well, take out all the enemies. And you get defeating crew earns you 1 victory point. Defeating an enemy captain earns you 3 victory points. So a lot of details there. And if you're a fan of that classic kind of sci-fi, this might be a game for you to check out. It's another one that was a Kickstarter that was, well, successful. It's always good to hear about those. Alright, let's move on, though, from our main stuff to our Kickstart display, because we do not have any party game closet for this week. No party games came out, but we do have some Kickstarters to talk about. So let's talk about On the Shoulders of Heroes, a fantasy RPG setting. And this is, of course, for 5th edition. It's 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. But it is really made to be adapted to any D20 system, fortunately. It's a fantasy RPG setting incorporating some classic tokenesque motifs and some German and Japanese folklore into their influences. And it is available on the Kickstarter. So, yes, it is definitely made to be with a D20 system. so it makes it a little easy to adapt to it. It's 24 days to go. They've reached about a fifth of their goal in British pounds, I think that is. I'm pretty sure. Or euros. It's euros. Ugh. I'm bad with money. We talked about this on Discussing Tabletop the other day. Anyway, you know, it's really intended to use for 3.5 more than anything, as it originally is intended, but because of the nature of it, you could adapt it easily to any of the D20 systems that are out now, and that's the point of it. It's going to be a 230-page book, 12 new redesigned races, class descriptions, new feats, languages, a continent, 8 countries, 19 deities, trade rules, items, weapons, magic items, artifacts, monsters, some new ones, some redesigned ones, 9 special NPC heroes and suggestions how may they fit your campaign. The art is all grayscaled with 4 talented artists, as you can see here by the picture of it. It's going to be kind of a design similar to that. And they're hoping to get a cover printed. They're getting everything printed out and getting that now. They do have some stretch goals in case they reach any things like introductory adventures, an art book, and stuff like that. So, yep. If you're interested in checking this one out, it is available now up on Kickstarter for you to back, or at least check out and keep an eye on, maybe if it's one that you want to eventually get behind. Alright, let's talk about the Idol of Cthulhu. It's for Call of Cthulhu. Pretty simple that way. It's an adventure book. You know, Idol of Cthulhu is made to be more than just an adventure book or PDF. They're covering every angle when they're talking about stuff. They're talking about ambient music, props, and more. And if you're in charge of a Call of Cthulhu game, you're getting all this information. It can be played as any Call of Cthulhu module, but this has specially created props that will enhance your gaming experience. It has been funded. It has been funded 3 times the amount that they wanted, plus some. 26 hours to go, so you only have about a day and a little bit to get this one if you're interested in it. It's made to be a multimedia experience. Made to be set in Call of Cthulhu. It's got sound files, paper props, sculptures, all this stuff put together for your ultimate experience on doing the game. I'm not going to dive into depths of the exact scenario of it because that would be spoilers. It's going to have an item sculpted particularly that you can get as part of it. Boss relief, sound files, some paper props, all of this stuff put together, and they're putting it together, crowdfunding it. They do have some stretch goals, like a map of the town. Let me see what money they're at here. They're at 16,000. Let's see their stretch goals. They've hit the first 2 ones, which is a map of the town, NPC cards. The next one out is an Egyptian chapter of the story, more than 30 more pages, called No End in Sight. After that is a Rhode Island map and more NPC cards, and they'll create a handout form at 35,000 euros of the Call of Cthulhu story, so it feels like you found the papers before, because this is sort of being a sequel to the Call of Cthulhu story, while it's set in the Call of Cthulhu game. As confusing that is. Yep. A little bit confusing, but understandable, you know, if you get a hold of it. And you can get things like the scenario on its own, the paper handouts, the Bass Release, the Idol, the Voodoo Deluxe stuff. There's a lot of things to get here to get all the props together to make it a full experience, and that's what it's meant to be, is a full experience that you can check out and support now. If you like Call of Cthulhu and you want to try something a little different, this might be the way you want to go about it. All right, Kobold Press. Drink first. Kobold Press has a bunch of monsters. It's a creature codex. It's helping you out for monsters for 5th edition. So yeah, 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. They have Kobold Press has put out a lot of monsters and things like that before, and this is supposed to be 5th edition compatible monsters for new players and veterans alike. It brings over 300 new monsters to it, including a lot of unique things that they've come up with and things like that. Like they have things like a Lotus Golem, Wasteland Dragons, Shadow Goblins, much more. Backers can submit original monsters designs for possible publication, with high-level backers can commission Kobold Press to design and illustrate a monster idea. In addition, the Creature Codex, this Kickstarter, will fund the creation of monster pawns, encounter maps, and more. So, they have They're 5 times the amount they were looking for. Yes, they have certainly funded it. 10 days to go. So they've hit their stride. They've done it all. They're well into their... There's a lot of pledge goals. $20 will get you the PDF, and you can do the Submit a Monster. $30 will get you the PDF map pack, a preview of packs and monsters and things like that. $45 will give you a hardcover print of the book. And you can get up from there up into... You can game with them at a convention or online for $1,750 if you really wanted to. And they are planning on getting a pawn box with these that you can get. And there's some... Sorry. They have some mock-ups on their Kickstarter. Now, they do want a certain number of backers and have some goals for that, which include the number of backer monsters published. If they hit 40,000 backers, they'll have 40 backer monsters published. Right now, they're at 25 backer monsters published. Whew. So, they have certainly hit a lot of their stretch goals. They have Demon Lords, they have villainous NPCs, a Ruined Tower battle map, Dragon Rider Raiders Lairs, Mouse King, King of Vultures, Queen of Cats, Dragons of the Wasteland, Swamp Battle Map, and digital tokens to prepare PDF and Codex tokens all. They still have a number of stretch goals up here that they are working on, and which they haven't updated here about what they have. Add 5 monsters, a city battle map, Rats and Demons Lair, more villainous NPCs, a Plains battle map. The next one is a Wind Demon's Lair for the Plains battle map, which is, and then 5 more monsters, and a generic harbor battle map, which they can still possibly reach. Whew! They've hit a lot of their stretch goals. There's a lot here. If you're a fan of monsters and you want to add a little bit of unique and interest to your 5th edition games, this might be something to check out, a Creature Codex. It's not a lot, $20 for a PDF copy of it. It's got full illustrations, and all the monster stretch goals are included in this one, which is an important thing to note. That gets all the monster stretch goals included into this completely and utterly. So, let's move on, though, because we still have some more Kickstarters. We have a bunch more. Sherwood, Legend of Robin Hood RPG for Savage Worlds, 2nd edition is up on Kickstarter. So, we all know about Robin Hood. It's one of those things. It's a story that's told and done a lot of different media. While King Richard's away at the Holy Lands and the Crusade, Robin and his band of merry men are out of Sherwood Forest defying Prince John and the Sheriff of Nottingham, who are trying to usurp Richard's power. So you join that band, Green Tights, and it's your chance to sort of enter into the band of Robin Hood. Sherwood Forest is a place of mystery, excitement. You band together to oppose the Sheriff and Prince John, and help, England during the Third Crusade. You create your character to do what best is for England, and King Richard protect his interests. You play in medieval England during the period of the Third Crusade. The book is designed not to emulate the historical period, but kind of mythological ones too. So you could be as historical you want, or as mythological as you want, depending on how you want your Robin Hood experience. If you want to be more like certain novels, TV shows, and stories, you can aim to be as connected to those as you want. So effectively you choose if you're going to be the historic realistic, you leave out magic, or a mythical mode where you got some kind of magic added in. And the 2nd edition is for the Savage World role-playing game. They have a draft available, a manuscript complete, an alpha draft that's available for all confirmed backers for at least 1 month after the Kickstarter has been funded. The Kickstarter itself is about 50% towards their goal. 9 days to go. 50% isn't a bad number. They're not asking for a lot, so it could be very easily funded at this point in time. For $10, you get a PDF copy of it, and all the stretch goals for that one. Pretty simple like that. Will they reach stretch goals? Hard to say. They have a 1-sheet adventure, some information about a supplement that might be added in. So, at least, this one looks like it could hit that goal. and get the out. So if you're interested in playing as Robin Hood or in his band, in either a historical version of it or a mythological version of it, this might be a cool one to check out. Let's, of course, move on in our Kickstarters, though, because we got a couple more still. Anthro Adventures for 5th edition is a campaign setting is up on Kickstarter. Yes. So D20 systems usually have a bit of common, and stats can be shifted around between them. And this book might be just what gives you what you need. If your group had been playing Pathfinder and using the rules from Anthro Adventures there, but now playing 5th edition, you're in luck. There's a new format for a campaign for putting it to 5th edition. So it's a popular RPG setting with 7 realms there, where animal-human hybrid races are in your campaign settings. It's designed to fill 2 goals. It's designed to help with the setting that's so easy anybody can understand it and understand their race, and provide a setting of the conflict between animal-human hybrids are the central focus. So they're creating each of these races were created in a sociological experiment in modern-day human genetics lab, and are each given basically children's lit to instill the newfound species. They're set through time and space, and the only thing that rely on is to continue to develop is those ancient stories once read to them. Basically, each one is using a bit of children's literature as their basis for their culture. So thousands of years, and the hybrid races have flourished, and using those tales, which were once read as basis of society. So, like, the dog can have a powerful medieval theocracy based around their dedication to the Big Red God, who's basically Clifford. Lionkin are looking to exterminate all evil in the name of the Great Mane. Aslan and the Ratkin are taking science to dangerous levels using steam-powered cities, basically Mrs. Frisbee and the Rat of Nim. So you can see how this works. They have 19 days to go. They are just shy of their 50% of their goal. So they've almost hit 50%. It's an interesting setting. If you're not against playing as animal-type creatures, and you might want something that's a little different as a setting, this might be for you. You can get a PDF copy for $10. It might be something to check out and see if you're interested in it, and see if it's something that is interesting thing for you might want to check out. It's definitely a very different take on a 5th edition set or Pathfinder setting, and now you can check it out if you're interested. Alright, move on. We got some a board game up on Kickstarter. Mainland. Drink again. It's a new tile laying game, and it might be right up your alley. Players are looking to place their tiles on the board in an effort to create a large section of interconnected tiles called their mainland. Tiles must be placed partially covering up another one of your tiles so that they overlap and match symbols. As the board grows, space gets tight. Placement will be key in the race to get the largest landmass under your control. Basically, a new world is forming in total chaos. Hostility between clans is now open. Battle is almost inevitable. As leader of your clan, it's your mission to conquer territories and expand the powerful mainland, and secure your people's future. You place cards on the board. Different territories are created. A lot of simplicity in the way it's done, but an interesting way. So, they are about 3/5 of the way funded. Yep. 9 days to go. For $14, you get the print and play PDF. And for $39, both of these Canadian, you get the full copy and the print and play version of it. So, it's an interesting little game about where you do have to stack tiles, and you have to build a mainland, and everybody will be sort of competing for some territory. And your largest area is your mainland, though you might have some remote territories on this map as you kind of stack and pile up tiles to create your mainland. It's available now on Kickstarter if you want to check it out and pledge to it. Alright, let's move on, though, to Storytime Cards, a creative, collaborative storytelling game. We all like to tell stories, some of us more than others, of course. Those of us that are DMs or GMs, we are great at telling stories. But even players can be good at telling their own stories in their way they're due. And it can be sometimes hard to come up with a whole story arc. You hit that kind of stride. You're hitting that block, a little bit of writer's block. And when you got a group, it makes it a little easier to come up with something, question mark, and that's where this game comes up. It's a collaborative storytelling game that's on Kickstarter. You use the paired cards that come with strange characters and locations to basically piece together a story. The basic idea is of the game is to split the characters in places of 2 or 4 pieces so they can be randomly combined to create stories. So, it is 16 days to go. They are about... they're into their Kickstarter. They still have a ways to go. So it's one I would recommend you watch and see how it's going before you might try to pledge to it, because it might not go. Might not. It is for 2 to 4 players. And they have a very simplistic way. You sit in a circle, deal the deck. Each player tells their story starter, basically. Something you start with it. And don't create the whole story, just create a piece of it. Everyone votes on the character place they want the story to be about, and the ones with the most votes basically get on the board. You deal the deck again and continue the previous story, and we build stories one after another, kind of putting together a story piece by piece. The core deck has 110 cards. Kickstarter exclusives will be in there, and some blank cards in the instructions, and you can get that for $25. There is a not safe for work deck that can be included for $35, and you can come up with a custom card that you can add in for $120. So, it's up now. It's one to at least keep an eye out if you're interested in this type of game, because maybe you want to back it and see if you can get it taken care of. Alright, last one today. X Chronicle. So, X Chronicle, 11 days to go. They have hit 38 of their stretch goals. They have almost gotten 10 times the amount they were asking for. They were asking for 40,000. They are at 9 times that amount at 360,000. It's a 1 to 7 player tactical board game with highly detailed 32mm miniatures and a robust base management system. Pretty simple way to say it. So it's a sort of sci-fi retro 1980s where tasking players to take control of daring men and women that make up a military organization, Chronicle X, or the overmind of ruthless and cunning alien overseer that's invading Earth to end all human resistance. It has a diverse group of... Chronicle X has a diverse group of heroes for players to choose from in their squad, but must also manage to expand their base of operations using what scraps and materials that can secure a foothold on the planet. Overmind created a cadre of alien troops to overwhelm Chronicle X's players, ensuring they would never save Earth. So, yeah. For $100 US, you get the base game, all the stretch goals, a Kickstarter exclusive miniature, and some other special Ridgewalkers and Dominators, as they're called. And that's how it gives you all the stretch goals, too. You get a lot more extras if you go up to the second one they have, which is $200 for backing. But, so that's the basics of gameplay. 2 sides opposing each other. It normally comes with the rulebook, game board, maps, hero cards, mission cards, base of operations, hero dials, alien cards, custom dice, various tokens, resources, items, upgrade cards. Oh man, they have unlocked a lot of stretch goals. I mean, 3 gray alien men, a Dr. Heinrich, another base of operation cards, reptilians, foam inserts to put your figures into, more figures, more item cards, big old monster, more bases, another character, single player mode. Yeah, they unlock that. 5 items, something called an Annihilator, missions. Oh god, more missions. Yeah. A robot for a player. Yeah. Big century. Oh boy. A calendar. Yep. A calendar got unlocked for 2019. 2 game board tiles. So you get additional 2 game board tiles. Let me see where they're at for stretch goals. And you can play as a gray alien, Pentagon. Basically the one that crashed in Roswell in New Mexico in 1947. He betrayed his brother and sided with humanity. Cool. The next stretch goal is broken walls. And then Christmas trees. And at 40,000 they have the macro. The most powerful IT whiz alive. And they'll probably add more if they keep going. I mean, the fact is they have 11 days to go, and they've added so many stretch goals that if you just do the one pledge, you get them all. So, miniatures game, tactical game, humans versus aliens, control the world. It has a little bit of XCOM in it, if you're a fan of XCOM, with its own twist on things, with definitely a 80s retro feel. 80s sci-fi retro feel to kind of mix and match with that, so you get a interesting amalgam of things. This is one that I would say definitely check out. It's an interesting one, and they can hit so many more. They might hit so many more stretch goals before the time that they're done this one. So if you're interested in this type of game, might be for you. 1 to 7 players, since they do have that a single player available. Oh, right. So that's it for the news for this week. I hope everybody's having a great day and enjoyed learning about the news in tabletop world this week. We'll be back on this Saturday for discussing tabletop, where hopefully me, Worm, and Joe will discuss these topics and more as we're beginning to get to our end of year segments and stuff, finishing up this year in tabletop and gaming. I hope you guys can join us there. If you have any questions about any of these news stories that you want to leave in the comments below from when this is up on the YouTube channel, or if you want to send us to either Worm, me, Joe directly on our Twitters, on our Discord, you can email me at discussingtabletop@yahoo.com. Anything about any of these, if you want us to talk about on Discussing Tabletop, any questions on role-playing games we can answer there, or anything related to this that maybe you just want a quick answer for, just message me and we can talk about it. I'm always willing to help out and answer questions, whether just simple ones or the long-scale ones on Discussing Tabletop. But we'll be back then on Saturday for that, where we'll talk about a lot of these topics. So, have a great day, everyone, and see you next time.